Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Naduhu wasta'inuhu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Arsalahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyudhhirahu ala ad-din kullihi wa la kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astikal hadith kitabullah, wa awtaqa al-ura kalimatu taqwa, wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim, wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah, wa asanu al-qasasi hadha al-Qur'an, wa khayrul umuri awazzabuha, wa shayrul umuri muqtadatuha, wa asanu al-hadyu hadyu al-anbiya, wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada, wa amma al-amma dalalatul ba'da al-huda, wa khayrul amali ma nafa'a, wa khayrul hadi ma uzba'a, wa shayrul amma al-kaw. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts is the one that yields benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tukatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khayril mursaleen Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Qur'an al-Kareem, inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala an-nabi ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We could regard this khutbah today as kind of like a team building type khutbah, and it's like a team is already a success. For instance, if you get on this team, you're already successful. When the brother said, Hayya ala salat, Hayya ala falah, or vice versa, that's what it means. Come to prayer, come to success. The Quran refers to you as the muflihun, those who are successful. And it's over and over again mentioned in the Quran. Qad aflaha al-mu'minun. The believers will be successful. That's the translation, but technically in Arabic means the believers are already a success, because it means something that already exists. When you accept Islam. So when you accept Islam, you're already on the team. Therefore, you're a success already. Okay, now, but the coach's job is to kind of win games. You know, that's what the job is. Now, the job for this team right now is to win the game of life, for the sake of Allah, for the sake of Islam. And there are certain training rituals that go along with that success. The thing that brought you to the team, right, also brought you to the training rituals that will perpetuate you and will propel you into being that winning team, that successful team. The reason this team has to win is because all the other teams have been diverted. They've been diverted from what the Quran describes as success in this world and the next world. So, those other teams are good. They've taken their shahada. As far as the Quran said, they're a success. But, as we'll see, sometimes you can get diverted from your mission. You can get diverted from your great goals in life. And in fact, when we think about America, we can think of it in our contact with it as a great diversion. And we'll talk about it as we go. First of all, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, wealth is not in vast riches, but wealth is in self-contentment. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying something that's different than everything that we believe, that 99% of the people believe otherwise. Oh, they believe in Islam, they believe in Allah, many billions of believers, 1.5 billion. They believe that success is working for the cause of Allah. But there's a difference between believing and functioning in that belief. You see what I mean? So this is what we want to talk about. The Prophet ﷺ said this wealth is not in vast riches, materialism. Okay? We believe the opposite. We believe that the more money you have, the more successful you are, maybe the more happier you're going to be. Of course, we have seen on the talk shows, and those of us that have been around those people, know exactly the opposite. Sometimes the wealthier you get, sometimes the more unhappy you can become. Sometimes, now I'm talking about when you get exorbitant wealth. I'm not talking about people that, if you're living at the poverty line, if you can't get no help for your babies, if they belly is sticking out. I'm not talking about that. You want to avoid that. You want to rise above that. You know, you want to rise above the jahiliyyah or the dunya having an adverse effect on your life and feeling hopeless and powerless, which if you don't have no money, that's general feeling. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the world is set up if you're flat broke, you have to be a very spiritual personality to enjoy life. You can do it, but you have to be detached. You have to be a zahid. That means that you're detached from the material world. Now, the best zuhud is voluntary detachment. When you have the money, you have the wealth, but you're not managed or controlled by it. You're detached from it because of spiritual reasons. That it is a tool for you to use for life, to help others, to help society improve or to become better. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that wealth is not in vast riches, but wealth is in self-contentment. Self-contentment is something that people have to acquire to understand what it, you tell people what it is, but unless you get a little bit of it, you know, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like you are right all the time, no matter what happens. If you got big money, you're contented. If you're flat broke, you're contented. If everybody is loving you and calling your name and coming to visit you and inviting you to dinner, you're happy. If nobody calls you at all, for no reason and at no time, you are happy and contented. That's what self-contentment is, that you are happy and contented in all times and in all stages. That don't mean that you don't have challenges and what have you. Okay. Is it reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, verily Allah says, O son of Adam, find leisure in my service, and then I shall fill up your heart with contentment, and I shall shut up your poverty. And if you do not do it, I shall keep your hand engaged in work, and I shall not close up your poverty. So this is what Prophet ﷺ is saying here. Prophet ﷺ is addressing you and I, Bani Adam, children of Adam. Find leisure in my service. In other words, make your worship of Allah, make your service of Allah, make your giving in zakat, make your challenging the forces of evil for the sake of good, make that your leisure. Make it like your hobby. Make it like your pleasure, that Islam is my pleasure. You see. Yeah, Islam is my pleasure. It's not my job that I gotta do. I got to do it. It's something I get to do. There's a difference between I got to do it and I get to do it. Get to do it means I get to go out and play. I got to do it mean, y'all get out of the house and go outside. Because it's what all of our parents used to tell us. Now you can't get the kids outside. They don't seem to play at all. I don't see the kids outside playing. Running up and down the street, pushing go-karts. I just don't see it. I don't know what's wrong. But get out of the houses. You got to get out. I'm tired of hearing that. Can't you be still? Something. Just be still. Just stop moving. You know, old people, they don't want, just be still. They didn't have enough activity. So there's a difference between something you got to do and something you get to do. This Islamic movement, we get to do this. This is not something that is imposed upon. Now this is what Allah is telling you, or the Prophet, peace be upon him, is saying, O son of Adam, find leisure in my service, and then I shall fill up your heart with contentment. If you find leisure in Allah's service, Allah's work, right? Raising wealth for the sake of Allah and giving it in the sake of Allah, I'm going to give you self-contentment. and I shall shut up the door to poverty. You ain't going to be poor. You're just not going to be poor, right? Here's what it goes on to say. And if you do not do it, I shall keep your hands engaged in work, and I shall not close up the door to your poverty. Now, you've heard about the more money you get, the more money you owe. This is just common. I was saying when I first started dealing, man, as soon as I make $3,000, I'm going to quit. Well, it just took me 2-3 days to make $3,000. And then I said, man, I need 10 grand. And then I needed 50 grand. And after that, sky's the limit. Might as well stretch on out. And more and more and more. That's a little slither of time, a few days, maybe a couple of months, where this is really fun. It's really a joy. And there's sometimes you can be getting so much money at such a period, it makes your blood boil almost. I mean, you be juiced up and you can't sleep a whole lot, maybe 2-3 hours. You might get lucky and get 4 hours sleep. Why? Because all the time that you sleep, you're getting money. And so you want to go and pick up your money or have people drop off your money. So the sleeping is a tragedy. But if you work for the cause of Allah, He will give you contentment. If you do it, that's your leisure, that's your pleasure, that's your fun. But if you don't do it, you're going to be working anyway. But you ain't going to find no leisure, no contentment or nothing. You're just going to be working to get more money. That's what most people do right there. I've got to have more. Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu reported the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There's no patient man but possesses power, and no wise man but possesses experience." Sabr. There's a hadith down here that says, Ibn Masud radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Patience is half of faith." Everyone has heard that getting married is half of faith, and trust in Allah for the other. But there's a hadith that's very clear. وَالصَّبْرُ وَنِفْسُ الْإِيمَانِ. Patience is half of faith. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, is also saying, there's no patient man but possesses power. Power is the ability to get things done. Powerless means that I'm a prisoner. I can't do anything. I'm broke. I don't have a vehicle. I don't have any money. I'm powerless. Right? That's a bad feeling. But power, according to the dictionary, is the ability to get things done. The ability to infect or effect your environmental circumstances. And it also has to do with the ability to have something to do with your future. Not maximum control of your future, but you can have some influence on your future if you have power. But now the Prophet, peace be upon him, is mentioning power as the root growing out of patience. You ever heard the saying, "A fool and his money soon parts"? I have hundreds that I know personally, and thousands of people that was big rich and the money floated away. If you go to any federal penitentiary, at least when I was in there, all the young Negroes in there had big money, most of them. A lot of them was dealing drugs. Ones that was just robbing banks, they just robbed a few folk. Like they didn't get no big money. But them Negroes, especially out there in California and up in New York, they was getting gigantic money. Big money. And everybody thought it was big money. And they knew it was big money, but there was something about it. That money flew away. The bail bondsmen got their money. The lawyers got their money. The judges got a piece, trying to pay them off, get a little less time. The police stole half of it. You know what I mean? All that money went everywhere, but it didn't wind up with the brothers because they didn't have power. They didn't know how to use their money. They didn't know how to use their money. No wise man but possesses experience. Now, experience is the key to learning and the key to knowledge. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Qais tribe, there are two traits of character in you which Allah loves: patience and delay. Patience and delay. We'll talk about them in a while. Patience, sabr. Sabr technically means to check, to tie, and to contain. Sabr means to control yourself also. Sabr means to discipline yourself. Sabr means that when everybody else is going crazy and running around, jumping up and down, you have sabr. You have patience, you have discipline, you're thinking, you're organizing, you're planning. Everybody else don't have no sabr. But you are a thinking, experienced person. You have learned through experience that whatever this is going on, it ain't going to be here forever. Now, what do we do? How do we station ourselves to get a benefit out of this grand tragedy that's harming everyone else? Not only how we get through it, but how we're going to benefit from it. Remember, this is a coach now trying to tell you how to not get to the Super Bowl, but how to win it. Shah ibn Sa'd radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, delay comes from Allah and haste comes from the devil. Delay comes from Allah and haste from the devil. It's reported Musa ibn Sa'ad radiallahu anhu reported from his father, who said, Amash said, I don't know it except from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, delay in everything is good except in an action of the hereafter. Delay is good. I'll sleep on it. I'll think about it. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a beautiful car I want to buy. Oh, that's a good deal. But I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to think about it. Then you look around at that boy and you test it out and you say, oh, there's a few things that I hadn't paid attention to. You know, there's a few things I missed. So delay is good. Delay is from Allah. Haste is from the Shaytan. And this hadith is saying, delay in everything is good, right? Except in matters of the hereafter. That's your prayers, fasting, and things of that nature. It is narrated, Anas radiallahu anhu, that a person whose chief aim and ambition will be in seeking of the hereafter through his effort and exertion, Allah will grant contentment and tranquility and freedom from want to his heart and remove his distress. And the world will come to him humbled by itself. while a person whose chief aim and ambition will be the seeking of this world through his effort and exertion, Allah will produce the marks of want in the middle of his forehead and on his face, and make his condition miserable. And peace of mind will desert him. And after all this striving, he will get only that much of the world as he had been ordained for beforehand. He ain't gonna get nothing that wasn't already laid out for him. And no matter how hard he worked, because his focus was on the dunya. We'll move toward a few ayats in the Quran. O mankind, there hath come to you a direction from your Lord and a healing for the diseases in your hearts, and for those who believe, a guidance. Ya ayyuha an-nasu qad ja'atkum mau'idatun min rabbikum wa shifa'un lima fi as-saduri wa hudan wa rahmatun lil mu'minun. Now this is a beautiful ayah from Quran. This is a cure-all, because it has the word shifa in there. And it's talking about the Quran. And when we think about this, we have to find a way to get around all of the environmental circumstances that we were born around, that we heard about, that we were associated with. And as a Negro, my goodness. Now, being born in 1945, so a little while ago, now being born up here in the city is one thing, but being born in the deep South, without houses, wagons, no electricity and all of that, you got a chance to see the white man for what he really is. I mean, for what he really, really is. And also, you have a set-up environment that you're born into, and you know what you learn in a hurry? You learn where your place is. The society tells you who you are, what the limits of your aspirations and visions and dreams should be, which are literally just above slavery, right? And your vision is, when it's time to get on the bus, if you get lucky, you know what it said. Why? Because that's your place. You don't turn flips and say, I want to sit here where I can see. No, you go to the back. Why? Because that's your place. You think, well, man, this is now 2016, the youngsters now, they not blocked like that. Yes, they blocked the same way, except they blocked by 2016 lack of vision. Right? They don't have, I was reading, I was breezing through this, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Y'all know that book? You know, like it's like the post-traumatic syndrome. If you're born in a war area, if you go to war, you can be born in a peaceful land. You go to war for a few months, a year or so, and you, in World War I, they call it shell shock. World War II, they call it, it's a so-and-so, it's shell shock. That means on them trenches, them shells, bomb bursting all around you, you just never get back to reality. You are shell shocked. Vietnam, they call it post-traumatic syndrome, something like that. Now, if you live born in a certain neighborhood, in a certain environment, you have a certain image, you have a certain picture of life, you have a certain picture of yourself. They call it self-image psychology. And the Yahud had it. He went 400 years under Pharaoh, and when they said, there's the promised land, they said, there's some Jabbering over there, some big strong jokers. You and your Lord go over there. We're going to stay here and watch. And for that, Allah had him walking around in the desert for 40 years. The Bible said 38 years, but it's the same amount of time, till all you people with that mental block, born in slavery, raised up in slavery, with self-image psychology problems, inferiority complexes, that work is to work for Pharaoh, not for your freedom. And then when you get some freedom, you say, I had it better, we had it better back at the flesh pots of Pharaoh. That's what the Bible says. And the same thing in the Quran. Even when they get into the promised land, they are a problem for a prophet who have brought them out of slavery under the most powerful system in the world at that time, and they still moaning and groaning, although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a shade over their head, right? Walk around the desert. Right? Free food, manna, quail. If you think it, try to buy some quail right now, see how much it's going to cost you. Or squawk, baby pigeons. Yeah. So you and I were born and raised in an environment that taught us who we are, where we belong, and who we should be. What we should even dream about, what we should even hope for. Right? That's what we come up under. So therefore, the Quran is here and it says it's Ash-Shifa. It's a healing. It's a cure-all. It's an elixir for all the diseases. Remember what it says? All the diseases of your heart. The Quran does not talk about psychological diseases, right? Or you got a mental problem. You need to go to the crazy house. It don't say that, isn't it right? It says diseases of the heart. The heart stood for the whole being. When it says suduri nas, that means the chest or the breast of man, but it means the heart of man, and the heart and the chest, and all of that has to do with who you are. So, necrosis is one of the most deadliest diseases that man ever had. It kills 98% of the people that get it. Necrosis. I'm happy where I am. I'm down at the bottom, I'm in the back, and that's where I belong. That's where the master told me to be. And if you try to go any higher, something bad gonna happen to you. And he got a system like that too, that you start trying to get up a little bit, he got something to knock you back down. Most people, when they get knocked down, they stay down instead of getting back up. Necrosis is such a deadly disease that if a Negro that's affected by that disease see any other Negro trying to progress, he will snatch him and grab him and bring him back down. Like they on the same team, one getting ready to go to the victory line, and the Negro tackle his own team member. So his team member said, why did you do that? You know what he said? It's a condition. Remember, Negroes come from a people who were produced. They were made by someone that hated everything about it. I want you to think about it for a minute. You're born in a society. It's like in San Francisco, you know, they got a lot of Chinese, Japanese gardens. Really something. So I was in there, I said, man, that's a beautiful tree. It's an oak tree. I said, man, that's a nice tree. He said, yeah, that tree is 100 years old. I said, that tree ain't 100 years old. I said, I'm from Oakland, right across the bay. Oak trees are big, and the heaviest tree, almost, you ever lift up a piece of oak is heavy. He said, no, my grandfather planted that tree. And then he transplanted every now and then, and he'd clip it at the bottom and clip it at the top, and he'd transplant it. And my father got it from him. He'd clip it at the bottom, clip it at the top, and he'd transplant it. Right? So that tree becomes an ornament. It becomes a dwarf, isn't it right? Now, if you have Negrosis, you are a production of a dwarf type of gardening. Why? Because you're cut off at the root. Cut off from back home. Just think when we grew up, just think of mine. The only Negroes you ever seen in the movie was big-eyed, Stephen Fletcher, Uncle Tom, Ben, and who else? Rochester and them niggas. Tell the truth. The only black people you ever saw was Rochester and all them coons, right? They were scared of everything, and they Mr. Bennett, right? He just ready to help Mr. Bennett. He didn't have no life of his own, right? Or the big white hunter was going through the jungle, and he'd have the niggas carrying his stuff on his shoulder, right? And then, to show you how dangerous the cliff was, it was always the nigga fell off, going down. And if he fell in the water, he got ate up by an alligator, isn't that right? But if Jane, the white woman, Tarzan, was a white man, he wasn't. He didn't come. He didn't fell off and got in the jungle some kind of way. He can talk to animals, he can do anything he want to do, and if Jane fall in the water, he'll jump in that water and whoop that gator and have him slapping his tail all over the place, right? But the nigga that was born there, been there since Lucy, 3 million years ago, probably been 10 million years, he don't know nothing but how to holler when a gator get after him, right? In other words, they have given you a picture of who you are. Tarzan is a success. Your job is to carry the load and the burden for the white man. And you are in a cast of thousands. Because you never remember the Negro's face, did you? If they had him doing anything, it's just a cast, they used to say in a big movie production. A cast of thousands. And when you see all them cast of thousands fighting and running, you would remember their face. You wouldn't remember their dreams. You wouldn't remember their hopes, their aspirations. The only one you remember was the white man, the star, the white woman, the co-star, and the supporting cast. Isn't that right? When the supporting cast of the star got killed, which he always did, of course the white man got to leave with the girl. The same old stuff all over and over again, right? And you sat there and cried. Yes, you did. You cried like a baby. But the nigga that fell off the way up there, you don't remember him. You don't remember nothing about him. Insignificant. Unimportant. Cut off at the roots. Remember the dark continent? What was they doing in the dark continent? During our time. They had a picture in a big magazine. Y'all don't remember them nuns that got caught over in the Congo. They had pictures in there with niggas putting the white women in there and chopping up vegetables in a big pot that's going to cannibalize the white ladies. Yes, they did. It was a big publication. I don't remember whether it was New York Times or one of them. It was a cartoon. around 64, white nuns. Malcolm talked about it. White nuns. Cut off at the root. Nothing ever happened in Africa. No history, no civilization. In Egypt, you saw pictures of the pharaohs, but the pharaohs were Jack Hawkins and all of them people. Rhonda Fleming. Later on, it was Elizabeth Taylor them. But it was white folks. And when they showed you the Sphinx, they showed you a Hollywood version. They didn't show you no big wide nose, big lip Sphinx. They had made that Sphinx with a little skinny nose. Look at them old pictures of Egypt. And not a Negro in the whole Egyptian continent. And Egypt was where? Somewhere else. It was not in what? Africa. People just realized recently that Egypt is not in the Middle East. Egypt is in Africa. Isn't that right? Egypt is in Africa. You ask, where's Egypt at? It's over in the Middle East. It's not in the Middle East, it's Africa. Cut off at the root. Cut off at the top. It was illegal for you to read and write. Right? Even English. You couldn't speak your language. You think about everybody else. We got Spanish in our language, we got a little Dutch, we got a little everything. The only African, West African that we had was the old joke. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Catch a nigga by the tongue. If he holler, let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's how you count. What's that? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We had no idea what they was talking about. We thought it was a joke. Isn't that right? I'm trying to tell you. Cut off at the root. Cut off at the top. Where they've cut off all possibility of light to get to you. That's what. Cut off the root, cut off the top, and transplant it over here. Now, when you cut off now, you got to remember something. The one that enslaves you, that murders you, that do everything to you, he teaches you who you are. That's the problem. The one that brought us over here and enslaved us, taught us everything we know. We knew at that time. But these people say post-traumatic slave syndrome is still a relatively new book. 10, 15 years ago, that means we're still affected by it today. The Quran comes, and we'll get back to this. O mankind, there had come to you a direction from your Lord, a healing, as-shifa, for the diseases of your hearts, and for those who believe, a guidance, hidayah, and a mercy. That's what the Quran is. It'll cure everything. If you're born with no vision, you start reading this Quran. You start studying your hadith. You're going to become a historian. And you're going to find out that what happened to you happened to other people before. Right? This is not a new phenomenon. When you study the Quran, you're going to learn not to be a spendthrift. Don't throw your money away. Don't waste your money. The Quran is going to tell you, don't pay any riba. Brother here yesterday got a few $1,000s. Some settlement. He was going to buy a car. I said, yeah, I said, so you don't have no Cadillacs? I said, no, I don't have no Cadillacs. So I'm going to go up to New York. Guy up there got a 2007 or 8. It has 2,000 miles on it. I said, 2,000 miles on a 10-year-old car? I say, you know, a lot of times they take dashboards off cars. You know, they used to run it backwards. They don't do that no more. They just get a new dashboard and whatever that's on there. I say, brother, I said, it's not possible. It is vaguely possible to have a car. And this man sounded Negroid? Yes. And the car is 10 years old. It has 2,000 miles on it. Yeah, he gonna give me a deal. I said, of course he is. While you're there, get the Brooklyn Bridge. You're going up to New York, get the Brooklyn Bridge. Tell him to throw that in. He'll do it. If you're gonna get. Then he was telling me, well, I might try to get me a place to stay. I said, just a minute, just a minute. You're gonna go buy a car? You just got a little settlement? I said, brother, you can go sit under that bridge, and this little money you got, wait till you figure out what to do with that money. I said, but you don't go buy. He said, well, I was gonna sleep, and I said, niggas did that when I was a kid. They bought Cadillacs, y'all remember that? Them big pretty cars, and they slept in them. Because the Cadillac was a hustle, you know. I said, you probably believe, and most Negroes are taught, money is to spend. I said, that's not true. I said, money is to make more money. That is the rule if you ever want to have any money. Money is not to spend, especially in the early days, right? You want to have money, you don't spend it. The heart, you get a little money and you don't spend none. That money is going to build up and build up and build up. That's why we was able to buy so much over on 8th Street. In that little place, we didn't have no overhead. Everything came in. We'd have a $25 a month energy bill or something like that. Slept upstairs, didn't have no overhead. So all the money we made, we could help buy this. We bought all kind of stuff, cash money, because we didn't have no outgo. And that's how we got over there in the first place, because we didn't have no outgo. If you get you a job downtown, good job, whatever they pay, I don't know. And you go buy a car, a couple of years, you get your house and all that. You're going to be poor the rest of your life. You ain't going to. If I had a job, which I did have a job in 1965 to 1966. And I was at some federal place, and it was actually, you know, for health or something. When was your last job? It wasn't long ago. I said 1966. 1966? I said, yes, ma'am, 1966. 1966? I said, yes, ma'am, 1966. I worked all from 1965 all the way to 1966. I was on parole, I had to work, so I worked. What have you done? I just said, I don't know, everything just come my way. I don't have no job. I haven't had no job, which is true. Right? So they gave me free whatever it was. You know, because I haven't had a job. But you save your money. If I worked on a job like y'all do, let's see, where would I stay? Well, you know, when we bought this place, you know where my family stayed? Right there in that office back there. Ask anybody. They didn't like it, but I said, we just stay there a while. And when we bought the place over here, we still stayed back there. When we bought the place over there, we moved downstairs in the basement to let somebody. Why? Because you have an income. Right? That's just my feeling about money. Money is not to spend. Money is to make more money. Then after you got $400,000, $500,000, you're going to buy something. After that, you can do what you want because you got some money. But they didn't teach us that. They didn't teach us that. How you think? You think all the immigrants got them big stores, Masons and Daces? They started peddling on the street. Why you think just before I got here they closed all the Negroes down? Used to be selling all over D.C. Why? Because they were independent. They said, you ain't paying us no taxes. Well, so we're going to just put everybody out. Now they ain't got no income. right? And everybody unemployed. It wasn't the black police or nobody did it. It was the people downtown. Just got other big shops. They don't want you in front of their shop. And they realized, my grandfather, that's how they started. My great-granddaddy and them, that's how they started Macy's, out on the street. If you let them niggas stay out there one generation, they gonna have neat groceries. This is a joke. Neat groceries is a joke. But it's true. When we was forming the business thing, they said, what can we call our grocery stores? I said, we're going to call them neat groceries. These people were all black-minded and red. They was mad. I said, don't you want to have no fun? Call it. I said, just think the big sign, neat groceries. Groceries! Neat groceries. Anyway, they didn't get it. They shot it. It was a beautiful idea. There was one or two people up around here they thought it was a great idea. They don't have no fun in there. You know what I mean? Anyway, cut off the root, cut off the top, transplant it over here with no customs, no training on how to be rich, independent, and safe, right? And right now, I'm going to skip. Right now, with the world sympathizing with us, yes, they are. Guess what they're coming out with? Stuff like, what's the name of that movie? Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation. Nat Turner. You know what Nat Turner is? The movie right now? It's just like Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. What was Spike Lee's solution to the whole thing? Throw a garbage can through the window, right? And who was fighting for the freedom anyway? Remember the Puerto Rican girl had on boxing gloves and leotards at the beginning of the movie? Fight the power. Remember that? It's not a nigga, especially a dark one, fighting the power. Right? Is the system going to oppress a yellow girl first or a black nigga? Which one's going to get busted upside the head first? Of course it's not her. He may actually go on with him, but he gonna beat her, and now you out your big black self, ready just with your head and lips sticking all out. You're ready to get beat upside the head, right? So they have her fight the power. And the grand finale, throw a garbage can through the window. Now, is that a solution to any problem? Do you remember all the Black Lives Matter and all the people, the Negroes getting shot, all the white folks, everybody's on our side, right? Everybody's on our side. But the minute anybody burn one car or light one match, the system goes into gear. Police lives matter, white lives matter, everybody's lives matter. Ain't none of them got shot, right? But they use everything, right, against you. Oscar Grant, y'all don't remember Oscar Grant, the brother in the subway, Fruitville Station, shot on the ground. The world sympathized with us. I was at those demonstrations. I couldn't stop it. The communists, the socialists, all of them, moving toward violence. As soon as they move toward violence, here come the police. Thank you very much. Just what we wanted. In fact, the people that did the violence was the police. You already won the victory. Everybody's on your side. You don't need to say anything else. All you need to do is stage it very well. Yes, we're upstanding people trying to develop our community, and here comes and you explain it, and you get everything going your way. But if you light one match, they're going to focus on that match. Next thing, they're not going to say nothing about Baltimore while everybody gets shot every other day in Baltimore. They're going to mention somebody threw a rock or somebody said something, right? That's what Nat Turner is. Why they didn't bring Nat Turner back in the old days? Everybody knew about Nat Turner because the goal was to prevent violence. Remember, number 4, I think it is, in COINTEL program, to prevent violence. Right? Okay. Well, what about now? The police got every imaginable military weapon, headgear, night scopes, and everything. Who you think they want to use them on? You. Why they haven't stopped shooting Negroes when everybody is saying, man, the people is crazy, right? This has been going, of course it's been going on all along, isn't it right? Shooting black people was been in vogue since I can remember. And I'm 70 years old, 71. And I don't never remember a time when they wasn't shooting us down. But now things, with these telephones, right, are going our way. So what's Nat Turner about? It's going to be nice. Of course, I'll go see it myself. But the other thing is to prompt you to be violent. Why they keep shooting niggas? They want you to be violent. What does the current report, what does every report say about the violence and the rebellion of the 60s? Every one of them, including Watts in LA, was because of police shooting of Negroes. Right? Well, why would they keep shooting Negroes? Because they want you to be violent, because they want to discard everything that's happening to you, and they ain't gonna have nowhere to put you no way. They ain't got no jobs. They don't have nothing for you. Finished. 30 years ago, 35 years ago. There's no use for you. So if half the people that the Black Lives Matter are white people, and these white kids are serious, you know what they're saying? I heard them right up there at Malcolm X Park, one of the first Black Lives Matter. Do they really shoot you guys like that? They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it because they don't have, how could they believe it? How could they even know, right? They never seen nothing like that. Do they really? The people was mad. I said, don't be mad. No. They came down here to show you friendship. And we're with you. Now, the niggas from New York was down there talking gangster talk. We're gonna do this. You gotta help us do that. We're going. So I said, can I use the microphone a minute? I said, people, I said, they got all the niggas shot and busted upside the head. All that gangster talk. We gotta get guns. So they got everybody shot. I said, them people bought all that. We said, we thank y'all for coming here and showing solidarity with the black community. Because see, you gotta tell the truth now. If niggas stand out there with their mouth open, they might help a little. But if white folks out there, white, you're all right now. You have to think clearly, right? And you ever seen them beat white folks, boy, the world, or don't mess with the white folks' dog? Good God Almighty. Hey, man, the country's ready to fall apart. We was, you know, we hustled for money. You know, we was at the Islamic Center the last night Eid. And the stoplight is right there. There's a white lady had a Volkswagen or something. And the police said, you got to move. You got to stop in that traffic. She said, what? Who you think you talking to? And started running her case. And your job is to help me. The nigga didn't open his mouth. Now you do that. Next time the police stop you right here. What are you doing? Stopping me. You're here to help me. Right? Is he going to be quiet? He going to say, sure, just hold the secretary. Got a nigga here. Be that. 1 minute. The other one, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Just hold on to them, just smile at it. Then the backup, see. They're not going to ask you nothing. They're just going to start beating you upside the head, throw you behind in the paddy wagon. Right? If you have white folks on board, it's better. I'm not saying you cater to them, but it's better. Makes it a little easier. Because evidently you don't count. You got to just be realistic. Niggas don't count. They wouldn't be shooting you anytime they feel like it. Tell the truth. They do whatever they want to. Black Lives Matter. I said they do. That's very good. I say everybody wants to matter, but not in America. Not unless you have some unity and solidarity. I'm going to move toward a close. Listen, back to the subject. The Quran is the healing and the tonic for all our social, psychological, and every other disease. I'm going to finish up with a few hadith. It is reported that a man asked the Holy Prophet ﷺ, give me admonition. He said, be not angry. Then he repeated it several times, saying, be not angry. It is reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, the strong man is not by wrestling, but the strong man is he who can control himself at the time of anger. That's why I was talking about Black Lives Matter, violence. They're trying to provoke black people. They're trying to provoke us right now, today, to provoke us into something they already set up for. They're dying to use it. They've had SWAT teams since the 70s, early. You can't do nothing. That right now, physical violence is the dumbest thing to do. In fact, the victory around the world for Muslims is because of nonviolence and violence mixed together. It's according to the society. For Syria, violence on violence. You got to get rid of them boys. They ain't no good. But if you look at the oppression of Shias, for instance, in Bahrain, 80% of the people are Shias, right? They're being oppressed by 20%, and they're gaining sympathy of the world. The eastern provinces of Saudi Arabia, they're killing and maiming and murdering and closing Masjid. In Bahrain, they didn't close down Salatul Jum'ah. In Bahrain, they put you in jail. If you're a doctor, remember a few years ago, all the people, Pearl Square, and all of that Arab Spring, good for everywhere else, but not Bahrain. If somebody was injured, and you were a doctor, a nurse, and you helped them, you went to jail. Some of the people still in jail right now. The bombings in Pakistan, Hazaris. Hazaris are Shias in Pakistan, few in Afghanistan, but they look Asian. You know, if you ever seen parts of Iran, Afghanistan, the people almost look Chinese, some of them. We say real Asian look. Okay, Hazaris in Pakistan stand out because they look like a whole different tribe. They're being bombed and killed, but they're gaining the sympathy of the world. They're gaining the sympathy of the world. Right now, you travel around the world, everybody is sympathizing with us. Everybody is saying, what's wrong with America? And y'all mad at old Don? Don is all right. That big mouth fool, let him keep talking. Let him make him president. Don't make us no different. Well, he'll do it. He ain't going to do nothing that ain't nobody else already doing. We like old Don. He said, I don't like niggas, Mexicans, and all of you other foreigners, which is everybody in America, of course. Look, the man talking about building a wall down the Mexican border. I used to smuggle the border. I know the border from Matamoros, you know, all the way to TJ, Tijuana. I know Nogales, Ciudad Juarez, every one of them. Do you know how far that is? You know how much wall that is? That'd be bigger than the Great Wall of China. You can't build no wall. And it wouldn't make no difference. They just get big old balloons on a windy day. They just come over on heated balloons. Right? You can't stop nobody from doing nothing once they want to do it. Isn't that right? You can't do it. I'm telling you. So, we got the world on our side. Both ways. Both ways. Racially, the people see that we are victims of America. And they run in the statistics. It's always been like that in America. The Danes got it. They get a little funny. They used to be all right. Can I digress just for a minute? They didn't just start giving niggas a bad name. You know, y'all heard of Denmark, Copenhagen, and all those places. Back in the 50s and the 60s, they loved Negroes. Yes, I'm talking about absorbent love. And them white girls had read every book. I go look at them. They had every book. And then the Negroes in Germany catch the ferry, and they would go across to Denmark or Sweden. It's all up there in the north. I mean, wasn't running around with white women, but the first night I got there, the girls was having a contest. I said, this is fine. Y'all have contests of who can catch it. Niggas. I said, this is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place. And my friends had told me about it. I didn't believe it. Also, they had Vietnam. People run away from Vietnam. Sweden, remember? They go to Sweden and Denmark. Then, in 71, here comes a nigga named Monkey Man. Monkey Man. Monkey Man is a government agent. You know why? He gets on TV, and he's supposed to be a pimp. They do have a few pimps up there, you know, Negro pimps. But this fool gets on the news and says, white men is punks, and we up here to pimp these girls up here. They stopped liking niggas almost yesterday. Yeah. It's like the Danish conspiracy. The other one was, remember the writer? The newspaper, the magazine about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Comes up, find out the guy's the best friend of Daniel Pipes and all that. They put it out on purpose to make you fight and make you mad. I got too many hadith. They all say the same thing. I'm going to put it this way, and I will try to close. We got a great destiny. I can't do all these hadith and ayahs. We got a great destiny. Every time we start going for victory, they have something to divert us from our victory. They always do. Now, they got another diversion. The diversion, fitna between each other. That's what was happening in Oakland. When I was out there, they were trying to make me mad. Negroes come to the Masjid, sticking guns in the face, telling them, okay, Imam Musa, forget about it. You about the place you did out, you out of here. That's to make you mad, right? That's to provoke you. Suppose you get mad. Now these Negroes, it's a government plot so clear that it's just ridiculous. Ain't no masjid in the United States at high noon, this jum'ah, the block is full of Negroes with guns out pointing at the poor Imam, me, dear brother. Finally, they don't get no response. After a while, the police come and block the way so they can all run away. And the lady up the street says, I called the police. I said, there's one. And they didn't bother them. I said, yes, ma'am. That's the way it goes around here. In other words, it's all the same, trying to provoke you. You let somebody provoke you, you fight on their terms. I was watching a movie a couple months ago. It was about Roberto Duran. We know the whole story. Roberto Duran was going to fight Sugar Ray Leonard. So he went over to where he was at and talked about him and talked about his woman and made him mad. Right? He was burning up mad. So the first fight, he went in there doing what? Slugging it out with Roberto Duran. Fighting on Roberto Duran's territory. Because Roberto Duran got enough sense to know that boy is slick and I ain't got a chance if he do it that way. Right? So he went over to his spot to make him so mad and talk about his woman. You know he got to defend himself now. Defend his manhood. So he come in there slugging it out. Of course he lost. He thought about it. He said, that guy got into my head. He said, I fought this fight. He said, sign me up for another rematch. Sign him up. Remember that next fight? He was playing with it. He even did like this. Remember this here in the fight? Bah! Duran got frustrated, got mad. What did he say? Most famous word. No mas. No more. You ain't never seen that. People are laid down in the fight. People are played dead and did everything. Got on their bicycle. Bicycles you run around. But ain't nobody just said, no mas. I quit. Why? Because the guy that scrambled his brain up. He fought, Sugar Ray Leonard fought his own fight. Stick, move, and all that, right? And he frustrated the man. This is what we have to do. Fight on your own territory. Do not let these people send us these movies, Nat Turners. We want to shoot the white man. We want to do this. No. Keep your smile. Remember, delay is from Allah, and haste is from who? The Shaytan. That's why every time you look in history, the people, I'm going to finish up, read a few ayats, and call it a day. I know you think I'm exaggerating, but I'm going to just do that. Y'all all know this right here. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will be between whom and thee was hatred become, as it were, a friend and enemy. No one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. We all know that. I go over that every week. That's our mission. But the next ayah says this, and if at any time an incitement to discord is made to thee by the evil one, seek refuge in Allah. He is the one who hears and knows all things. If you're going toward this lofty goal, right? This is what the Quran says. Then it says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Seek refuge in Allah, because the shaitan is going to excite you to discord, fitna, and disturbance amongst yourself to run you away from your goal. This is natural. One or two more ayahs. He said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy. La tathru. That means, it's what Joseph said to his brothers in his soul of slavery. Isn't that right? Finally recognized, you must be Joseph. He said, yes, I'm Joseph. They said, oh man, you know, he said, don't worry about it. No reproach this day. This is what Joseph, they'd have been in the penitentiary, and they did all kind of fitting, throw him down the well. Hey man, he done had serious stuff over there with the king. What did he say to his brothers? Same thing we say. La tafra. No reproach. A couple of more ayahs, and we'll close. And he raised his parents high on a throne of dignity. They fell down in prostration, all before him. He said, O my father, this is the fulfillment of my vision. Oh, Allah had made it come true. He was indeed good to me when he took me out of prison and brought you all here out of the desert, even after Satan had sown enmity between me and my brothers. Min ba'di nazaza, no, nazaza. Shaytan bayna wa bayna. Equity, that equity is like equal. That, with all of that, he's thankful because Shaytan has sowed enmity between him and his brothers. Verily, my Lord understands best the mysteries of all that he planned to do. For verily, he is full of knowledge and wisdom. So Allah is in charge of everything. This is what we have to remember. And Yusuf was not crying and bellyaching about what he went through, because he knew that Allah has all wisdom, and when Allah sends you through some changes, it's for your benefit. It's for your growth. It's for your development. Okay, maybe the last one, second last one. And we read this all the time, and we didn't read the ones before. You'll recognize it. O my Lord, thou hast indeed bestowed on me some power and taught me something of interpretation of dreams and events. O thou creator of the heavens and the earth, thou art my protector in this world and in the hereafter. Take thou my soul in death as one submitting to thy will as Muslim, and unite me with the righteous. That's Yusuf again. So, in closing, if we were a coach and we were coaching a team, we would say you're already a success by being on the team. You're on the Muslim team. You're on the Muslim show. You're in the best show in town. All right? But according to your Islam, you want to make the world a better place. You want to make the world a good place. Isn't that right? You got many enemies coming to you, and as the Quran says, they're going to attack you. Iblis said himself, since you've thrown me out, he's talking to Allah, so you know how I feel about you. I'm going to attack him on the left, since you stuck me out here like this. You can imagine the arrogance this boy got. He's talking to Allah like that. It is. Remember, you asked Allah, will you give me a respect, like probation for a while? Say you got it. Said, so I got probation for a while now. Look at him. Says he's talking to Allah. You read it all in the Quran. Since you done stuck me out here and did me this way, I'm going to hook your servants up. I'm going to whoop they behind so bad, I'm going to catch them every which way. I ain't going to never turn them loose. I'm going to catch them on the left, on the right, front, behind, all kind of ways. And you ain't going to find none of them grateful. Them niggas ain't going to say, oh, thanks Allah for everything you gave me. They ain't going to say nothing. They're going to say, Shaytan is Rabbil Alameen. Like the Satan worshippers. They say Shaytan is Rabbil Alameen, Lord of the world. We're in the Super Bowl right now. The world is dependent on you and I. All the Negroes, sorry to say, are sold out. The immigrants are sold out and scared. If you went to any of the programs like we did, them Negroes up there wasn't talking about nothing. You know what they were saying? Same thing the other coons said decades ago about the people of knowledge. That means they went to Saudi Arabia or they went to Syria in the other days. And now they come back here as the people of knowledge. Can you show me one Negro that ever went overseas that came back here and did anything except the job? How you going to learn anything in Saudi Arabia about helping anybody but the Americans or the Jews, right? What you going to learn in Syria to teach you how to liberate yourself here? This new crop of imams is not homegrown out of the Negro neighborhood. They born in the Negro neighborhood. They go over there and study. Now this is everybody now. This ain't just clowns. This is the chief people and everybody. All the Negroes coming back with their pants up here talking about the people of knowledge. And they was talking about some deep literature. You're going to have a class and you can sign up in my class. I don't know, $50, $100. I'm going to teach you about this great experience. I know you've never heard of it. It's called Imam Ghazali. I said, boy, these niggas need to be whooped upside the head. But you can't whoop them, you got to hug them. That's what the Quran said. Hug them niggas. Yes, indeed. No reproach, niggas. Selling out, telling on everybody. You got to do it. But I just said, don't get mad at them. Right? I will close with this. You know, about a week or so ago, I gave this kind of mean spirit. I was mad at everybody. Not mad, but I'm going to do that. I fix y'all. You Iranians, you this, you that. And then I didn't put it on the thing. Right? Because I was venting. I told the brothers I just vented. I ain't going to let nobody get you mad. Just because it's the truth. Don't have nothing to do with it. Just because you're telling the truth. So, brothers and sisters, it's on us. Why don't we go on and go for it? Can't nobody stop us. If we don't do it, you go find somebody that will. Where they at? Organizations downtown? Listening? Ignorant? Care? Maybe care help us. I gotta just tell you this, and I'll stop. For real, I'll stop. President Iran was there. The brothers downtown told me how happy they was. This is when the president of Iran and the foreign minister was all at the UN a week or two ago. So I was there, and it was a rectangle. There was a lot of dignitaries there. A lot of the big ulama was there, and Kier was there, and a couple more. Isnu was there. So Nihad was talking. He got a chance to talk to the president. He says, Mr. President, Iran has said another. But by the way, Iran's been very sectarian, and he ran into that. Then the next guy said something. Finally, another one said something. So I raised my hand, because I wasn't going to speak. You get on and listen. I wasn't going to speak. So a friend of mine, deputy in charge, wrote a note to the guy up at the front. Said, let Musa speak. So I said, these guys talking trash. I said, they don't know nothing. I said, they do this every year. They come here without doing research. They should have to do their research before they come and talk to the president of Iran about this, that, and other. Then I start running about Syria, what the guy said, then about this. So everybody was happy about it. They put it all on the internet. But guess what? The guy from Kashmir over there, you know, right over there. And he was kissing Iran's behind. He was the biggest Saudi agent in the region. Well, we're going to call Isna now Ithna Ashri, or Ishra. Ashri, 12. I said, these hypocrites. I said, man, the people here is hypocrites. And I said, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I couldn't sit still with all these people talking about unity in Iran. And I say none of them showed up at one single program for the last 35 years. None of them. So if you're depending on those guys, any of them, to lead you to freedom, you might as well get a bigger number on your suit. Because you're going to be here in America, and you know how America treats your people. Alright? So your lives matter. O Allah, we seek your refuge from anxiety and grief, like the strength and laziness, cowardice and ignorance. Seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and oppression in men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep us what is prohibited with thy grace. Make us free from want of what is besides it. Amen.